Welcome once again to Better Black Health. I'm Dr. Greg Hall, and it's brought to you again by Genetic Sequence Multivitamins, still the only multivitamins designed to meet the nutritional needs of African Americans, and also the Better Black Health book, which continues to do well on Amazon and in bookstores across the country. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about elder care and future family planning with Leslie Deans Bryant. She's an elder care specialist and founder of Ultra Care Services, a Los Angeles-based in-home care organization supporting seniors and their families. With over 10 years of hands-on experience, Leslie concentrates on the issues families face as loved ones age, which I'm aging. Forget about the loved ones, right? She's especially passionate about helping people manage dementia care, caregiver burnout, and planning challenges that can happen too late. Her insights come from years of working directly with families in their homes where gaps in understanding and support are most evident. Leslie often speaks and writes about aging at home, dignity in care, and how families can make informed decisions before a crisis occurs. So welcome, Leslie Deans Bryant.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dr. Hall. I appreciate it.
So listen, what makes you so interested in aging and how we age? I'll say I was thinking as we went on here, that my Black families, including the Hall family, is hard on end of life. We don't want to talk about dying. You could be on death's door and we don't want to talk about dying. Particularly,
I'll tell you later. Right? I'll tell you later. Right? Like, when is later? You're not even going to be here. Correct.
Right. So did you decide to make this your life's work?
So originally, my original background was pharmaceutical sales, for 25 years. And then the last 10 years, I went into this company. So being in like major hospitals like Cedars-Sinai, St. John's Hospital, just being in, I only called on thought leaders for a lot of times. So I was a specialty sales rep. So I would see way more than what other people would see. There were like 80-year-olds literally driving to the hospital. I would see them backing up. They were bumping people's cars. I would help them on the elevator. And I always tell people, I'm not a caregiver. I'm a giver, but I'm not a caregiver. I have no intentions. I've had to be in that position before, but not by default, basically, to not leave someone's family hanging. But I realized there was a need. I didn't know what the need was until my grandmother, there was a mistake made at a major hospital and they cut a piece of her bowel. She was a cancer survivor from colon and rectum, and she had a blockage, but they thought it was scar tissue, cut a piece of her bowel. Then from there, it just kind of went left. They could not close her. Later, we found out there was some form of maybe cancer that had come back, but she was not aware of it. She drove herself to the hospital and she never left out of there. They knew they made the mistake, so they kept her. She was still in her right mind, but she refused help even when they were trying to send her home. Like, don't touch my refrigerator. Don't do this. Don't do that. And she was in her late 80s, about 88 or 9 or so. And I just remember saying, like, as Black women and as Black families, everything's a secret. Everything's a secret. Doesn't matter how successful you are. Doesn't matter if you're not successful. Everything is a secret. So we're piecing things together. To my knowledge, I don't think we found a lot of the things that occurred when she even passed away, as far as her financials, her benefits, different things like that, because it just was not supposed to be talked about. She didn't want anyone in her home because she thought, like, I think Black people would say, you're stealing my documents, you're in my business. And you're like, no, you need some help. And then they said it to their children. So I made it my passion so this is my 16th year. In November, it'll be 16 years with this, owning the company. But in the last 6 years, I have been like past boots on the ground, no pun intended to the song, but like literally just thriving even prior to COVID. And COVID was that pivot for me. I left corporate America. Well, they laid me off and I was on the fence about other people was trying to hire me. I was like, no, I'm sitting on something. And I just went full throttle. And it started around 2017, 2018. But by 2020, 2021, it was like a full-time job for me. I know the need of it. We just don't want to have the
Nutrition, right? And
conversations.
and I think we might have the same grandmother. I mean,
Yeah.
I I had mentioned that like my when I was in sixth grade, my mother went away to my grandmother, right, and
Okay.
stayed a long time. It seemed like a lifetime, but it was my
Right.
grandmother was sick, right? Okay, and then she came
Yes.
back, and nobody said nothing, right? Now I'm a doctor, right? And I know the importance of family histories and everything. And I said my mother had since passed, so I'm in my grandmother's kitchen, right? She's washing the dish, handed it
Right.
back to me, and I said, Grandma, when I was in sixth, when I was 11 or so, you something happened to you, and Mom had to go stay with you, and I think it was some type of cancer. What type of cancer was it? She stopped washing the dishes and turned around and looked at me and said, "Who do you think you are? Who do you
Right.
think you are?" And I'm like, "What? I'm a
No, I'm really asking because I want to know.
family history, and I might inherit it. Whatever. I don't know what it was. I think it was a female thing, which is, you know what I mean. To this
Right.
day, she didn't tell me. I don't know whether it was
Mm.
ovarian cancer or uterine cancer or what.
Uterine,
I don't know
you
what it
don't
was. I still
know.
don't know what it was. And she never did tell. You know what I'm saying? And so she took. I mean,
But that's common.
yeah,
And then I had like, and so my dad'll be 80 in less than 30 days, and he's had kidney cancer and colon cancer. He had colon cancer at 50, so 30 years
mhm,
ago. And he has always been very like open and transparent about his health and everything. Both surgeries, no chemo, no radiation, such a blessing. And it was probably like certain, I don't know if it was
mhm,
hereditary as much as like habits in early stages. And then he had kidney cancer, but they caught it, they just took a piece of the kidney out,
right,
so he has still both kidneys. But he's so way more in tuned. So I say that to say, versus my mom's side, like everything is a secret.
right, right,
But regardless, it's still the same just in the black
yeah,
community. And when you go to the houses, they on their dying bed. They need sometimes they need 24/7 care, and you're doing the home assessment. They're like, well, what are you gonna do?
mm,
And I don't want people in my house, and I've been getting along fine. I'm like, you're on the ground every other week.
right, right,
Like you may not get off the ground the
right,
next week.
right.
Like you need to understand the importance of what's going on right
You
now.
know what's important is like your father is that there are people in our community who are like extremely transparent about whatever's going
Yes,
on with them. I have a cousin
absolutely.
like that. He'll tell you anything. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
yes.
all that does, it really empowers people. Like there are people when I have patients and they have prostate cancer, new prostate cancer. They say,
Right.
"Oh, prostate cancer."
I
I
worked for
said,
Fairing.
I,
I sold Pharmagon, so
yeah,
I did a
right.
prostate drug,
Yeah,
so
and so
I understand.
I told him, mention that you have prostate cancer, and I guarantee you, three of your friends will tell you they do too. But they don't. They're
Right.
afraid to talk about it. They're afraid that prostate cancer is so prevalent amongst black men over 50. It's crazy.
Very
You know what I
much.
mean? So then you think
And you can live
right,
forever with
right,
it if you get in front of it
absolutely. But
versus
they
pretending
don't think
nothing's
talking
wrong.
about it. They're dealing with it by themselves when they really could use this community of people that are immediately around them. I don't even know them, and I
Right.
know they're immediately around them to help them. But what your company does is that like try to deliberately form a community to around the person so that they can feel more like they can be
So
more
we
transparent or
yes, so I think for me what we do is we let them know that one, you're not alone.
mhm,
Two, I know sometimes you don't want to talk about the uncomfortable conversations because most of the families, when it's time to need the care, they're very independent.
mhm,
And then you're dealing with a lot of just even with women in general. But now let's take it to black women. We're beyond strong.
mhm.
We can do everything and then still get 5 minutes of sleep and pop up and do everything
Right.
again. So now as your life is pivoting, you're kind of like, what just happened?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't need care. Oh, you're trying to steal my documents. Oh, you're trying to be in my business. But yet, I'm Gen X.
Mhm.
No, yeah, I'm Gen
Mhm.
X. So I call us the sandwich
Mm-hmm.
generation because we went home, made sandwiches. Our parents was at work. That's just what was going
Mm-hmm.
on. And then my mom and them are the baby
Mm-hmm.
boomers. My dad is the first year of the baby boomers. My mom was born in 1950. They're still very active. They still can drive. I mean, like everything. Like my dad knew something was wrong and drove himself to the hospital. My mom knew things are wrong. So they pay attention to their bodies, but they don't still share. My dad does. My mom not as much, but my mom is still very, very active. Like my mom's everywhere. My friends are like, saw your mom again, saw your mom. I'm like, I'm sure you did.
Right.
So when you see that, I think the real problem is they're repeating themselves a few
Mm-hmm.
times. You notice that they've fallen. You notice you may have brought some groceries over, and when you open the refrigerator, they're still kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are signs. Those are yellow flags for the family members.
Mm-hmm.
Grandkids aren't going to the grandparents' houses anymore. I went to mine, so I was able to be a help. Even if I wasn't like a caregiver, I can say, hey, grandma wasn't eating or da-da-da, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same because Gen Z didn't really grow up and for our era with the baby boomers because baby boomers work longer.
Mm-hmm.
They're still working at 75. My mom has a PhD and she teaches at a university out here. And even though she did pharmaceutical sales for 35 years and retired, she is still working. Mm-hmm. My dad owns an insurance company. He is still working. He writes policies at 80 because they're very active.
Right.
You know, and that's what I'm stating. They go out dancing, they do things, and they're not together. So it just shows those are considered good genes, but you still get health issues.
Yeah, and you still have memory problems and things.
Yes.
How do you take? So I'm a baby boomer at the end. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're like you're the last teller of the baby boomers.
Okay, and I have no plans to retire either, right? But how do you tell someone like your parents, someone like me? I'm a doctor. I wrote some books. I'm, that. Well, you forgetting. You've fallen. How do you tell me? And my perception is I'm still thinking and walking around and doing stuff like I always have. I think my response would be you're mistaken. You know what I mean? That would be my gut response, right? So, but how would you reason to someone like your parents and someone like me to accept that there may be something going on?
I think you have to have the uncomfortable conversation. Just have a very nice tone. Mm-hmm. And I think you have to, talk about the financial part because caregiving is all non-medical. Mm-hmm. So you either have long-term care insurance or you have your savings. Mm-hmm. There are some medical groups, or if you're a veteran, I am licensed for both, where they have a non-medical component and they'll give you up to like 10 to 20 hours a week of some type of care, like a check-in. Truly making sure what's going on. Of course, once incontinence and things like that start taking a play, they can still use those hours for that. But now that's you're going to need more help. Right. I think for me that uncomfortable conversation is we need to talk. And even when they don't want to listen, and you just lay it out and say, one fall can take you out. You can break your hip. It can sometimes kill you. Even if it doesn't kill you from the broken hip, it's the mental. You're not active anymore.
That event is what sort of triggered the process. Yes. But I think, the other problem I see amongst my patients are the high end. I call them quote unquote high end, like your parents are high end. You know what I mean? That people, you made money, you're not broke, you own a house, you may own a few houses, you may own some business, you got a 401k, and now you're demented. And the kids may not have turned out as well as their parents, right? And
they
now,
not. Well, that is a problem.
Right. Now
and the parents don't want to give up the money.
Tell me you ain't even got a job. You don't even own your house. You living in my house. Yet that person's demented, right? Or has early dementia or showing signs of things. And so I see my patients, my high end, I'm just saying high end, you know what I mean?
Yes. No, we speak in the same language.
Those patients, kids, don't know how to handle them because their parents are still in charge. They still have money. They still have influence. They could help them out, right? And so why are you telling them?
Then they need to start recording them. I would say record them without them knowing. Start recording. Start playing things back. Start taking a picture of the refrigerator, time snapping,
Mm-hmm.
coming back a week later. Hey, there was some food prepared for you. This has been on the stove for 3
Right.
days. This has been in the refrigerator. You have expired things going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one has gone grocery shopping for you. Yes, I do think you're bright and intelligent. You play into that. Like, I do think you're bright and intelligent. And I'm not saying that something's like that you're not in your right mind.
Right.
But I think as you get older, but everyone forgets. You can blame it on yourself. Say,
Right.
I'm 60 and I forget.
Right.
So I don't think, but I think right now for your safety,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the biggest thing is when they really see, and I also say it's not a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
Won't you get your helper around here? Won't you get someone who can go pick up your meds? Won't you get someone who can make sure you take your meds so you get your breakfast in the morning because you're sleeping in longer?
Mm-hmm.
Won't you get someone so that you're med compliant so that you can stay longer on this earth? It's all about wordplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I
Let them know you're still in charge.
yeah,
You're still the boss,
yeah.
even though they
You
might not be.
right.
But letting them know that,
Yeah. Well, I
yes.
have patients that have dementia, right, and they're
Mhm.
on medicine for high blood pressure and cholesterol and dementia,
Yeah.
and they want to open up each bottle every day and take it. And then when I look at the bottle, it says it was dispensed back in 2019, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, you aren't
Because
taking
they're
it.
not
I'm
taking,
not
you're not
right.
remembering.
I'm not calling you a liar, but. And then I had this lady after we told that. She said, "Well, I transferred the pills from one bottle into the other." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, right. You transferred from an new bottle into the old
Because you have
bottle."
to look at the history. Have you even picked up your
Right,
meds?
right.
And when is the last time? And I think the biggest thing with families, and I say this, when a family can learn to have it, like recognize the yellow flags of things and prepare, you can turn panic into preparation, honestly,
Right.
because it's not easy. We're the hardest race. We're the smartest. We're the first of everything. So we're the first of being the hardest.
Right.
Okay, that's just the reality
Right.
of it. If we're going to be honest, we're the first of even that, and I think that is something that plays a huge role
Mhm.
in this situation.
But there, a lot of times the issues is one of trust, right? With my
Yes,
grandmother, for example, she couldn't trust even the most
my yeah.
trustworthy person in our family, which is my sister. You know what I mean? She's the most, and I'm like, she's like,
I know
she's the
exactly
most,
what
you don't trust her. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't. And so what happens is sometimes the least trustworthy person ends up caring for them. We'll say it that way. And also,
Yes, those are the ones who usually, because they show up and need that help.
right.
And and my grandmother, I don't think she trusted anyone. She was from the South Side of Chicago, and it was not happening. Like seriously, when I think she was born in like 1930 or so, or 20 something, maybe 26 or something like that, 27. It didn't matter. She was literally from the South Side of Chicago, and there was no way. And she had book sense, street sense, and common
Right.
sense. I always say I am blessed to have all three as well,
Right.
and that is important because I always say Chicago. I'm originally from Chicago and moved to California at 10. But regardless, I think that you have to find that one person who they will listen to and trust. And sometimes it's me. I do every home assessment. And listen, I'm a large home care agency. I have over 1,000 caregivers actively working.
Right.
And I grow every week.
Right.
I am very fortunate, very blessed because I don't sell a service in the sense of I have a conversation and create the need. And there are times that I go there that the families call and I'm like, I could take your money, but you don't need my services.
Right. You need
You don't need them, but keep me in mind.
Right.
And then you have some people who are still very independent, but may need a few hours a week.
Right.
Just need someone to make sure like their meds are taking the meds properly. No drug interactions, no mixing things, that you have food on your stomach, that you're getting at least 2 meals a day. So those are sometimes that part because they don't have the energy to cook anymore. So now sometimes they're malnourished. There are things that's going on, but yet they can still get in the car and drive, but they're eating a lot of fast food. Their cholesterol is extremely
Right,
high.
right.
So yeah,
They have an
I
answer.
get what you're
They have an
saying.
answer for whatever you say. You know what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
That sounds
Yes.
reasonable. They can
Go
talk you
ahead.
out of it. And if you're not trying to have any trouble, you let them talk you out of it and going about your business. And that's probably not
Yes.
what's in their best
That-
interest, right? Right. But
No, it's not.
let me shift over because
Yes.
people have and particularly Black people are really setting up businesses. And so when I was preparing for this interview, we saw you were identified in LA as one of the fastest growing businesses, and all these accolades. So
Yes.
what was the secret to your success having it be so fast? Or do you know what the secret is?
Yeah. So it's not in LA. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's actually I literally won WPO, Women President Organization, women led CEO companies, which is the world. I'm the 50 fastest women-owned company in the world.
Mm,
I literally shared the stage with women all over the world, from Asia, Africa, Europe, Canada, and United States. It was 5 places,
wow.
and it was bananas. I didn't see it coming. So for me, I had no intentions on leaving pharma to 60.
Mm,
God had a different plan for me at 46. I didn't know that was going to be the plan. Um, I took it, but it was my passion. So I was like, oh, I still worked both. I was like, I'm going to do this while, like, as I
mm,
retire. Well, no, maybe retire by 60 and pass it on to my children or sell it or whatever. I don't have an answer, but I know how passionate I am about this. And I knew that when you're so independent, no one checks on you.
mm,
I'm a person that no one checks on because I'm the person who's going to make sure that it gets done. But who checks on the strong people?
mm,
So I knew that in our community and in a lot of women, they're strong, but they don't allow help. So then what do you do next? Most men, like my veteran men and everyone, they're like, whatever you say, honey, because they just need some help.
mm,
And even when they're honoring and don't want the help, they will eventually take it. They may not talk about it, but they'll accept it.
mm,
The women know. And I knew that I had to be a little different. So I don't go in like, you need my service, you got to have my service. No. I talk it through to them and let them know. But I'm passionate about this. I really believe that the dynamic, I knew 15 years ago that this was going to change the world. When people told me, including my mother,
mm,
what are you doing? You don't take your 401k and buy this. I'm like, no, I'm buying this business. I'm telling you, I'm on to something. Baby boom. I was like, you are a baby boomer, mom. This is going to change the dynamic. Nobody's going to, people are going to help. They put them in the nursing homes. Well, guess what? You don't go to nursing homes anymore.
mm,
They're not letting you in to grow old. You have to be really sick so they can build.
mm,
The dynamic of the nursing homes have
mm,
changed. Just because you have dementia, you can still walk and talk, that they don't let you stay in the home. You got to pay to put them in a dementia home.
mm,
You got to pay to put them in assisted living. Your insurance only will take so much if there's nothing medical attached.
mm,
And that's what happened with me. That was the dynamic. And I knew, and I was onto something, and I have all gas, no brakes. I am serious about it. I've won Inc. 5000 3 times in a row. Everything I have applied for, I have won. I never applied for anything, not because I was just doing this. And then my publicist and them were like, you need to apply for things. You're kicking butt. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. But then I realized this is so important. And you may not use me. I want you to understand that you're going to need help
mm.
and call somebody. That's the main thing about it.
Right. That you thought you were feeling a need, right? And
Yes.
that need is widespread in in a lot of communities, not just Black people, right? A lot of
No,
yeah,
it's all. I have tons of non-black
yeah,
clients, seriously,
but
from Hispanics, Jews, Armenians, Filipinos. I knew there was a need. I just didn't know. I kept saying, and I'll tell, like, I don't know if you guys had penny savers back in the day, the penny saver and like local
Mm,
things. And this was in 2012, 13 or something. I remember stating like, has to be a business that does it. Probably 2010.
mm,
2010, I'm like, it has to be a business that does this. Because I wasn't interested in doing
right,
it.
right.
I just kept seeing all these different elderly people. But when I saw like 5 people in like 2 weeks back up into someone's car, it's just a little bump. I'm like, oh my God. And they're driving all slow. I'm like, they shouldn't even be driving. Something is going on
Right.
here. And then I would ask them, like, where's your family? Oh, everybody works. So my mind started like spinning, and I go, I know I'm gonna work for a long
Right.
time. I think my mom is 75 now, so she had just hit 60 around the time, 59. And I was like, this has to be something.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started this, I was in my 30s, and I would just map out things. I was like, it was a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
This would be my full-time job for me at 60.
Right.
And then you're looking at 10 years later. Yeah, I was like, when I really bought it, but I started around 33, 34,
Mm,
just doing a lot of research. I couldn't find anyone who really did it. This was kind of before Google,
mm,
but I would the yellow pages. I would just look up things. And then once Google started, it was new Google, but I really started looking and for 2 years. And I was like, I'm gonna do
yeah.
it.
So there's no one else.
There's a
Yeah.
need for
That
this.
was the same,
Yes.
really the same sort of thing with the multivitamins. I mean, there's no multivitamins made that addresses our widespread vitamin D and vitamin C. And I'm like, wow, this is really. I'm a doctor. I don't really have the time or interest in doing it, but no one else
But
is
it
going
was
to do it. It's
important.
just needed, and then people just lose their minds over it. And I feel it's the same way. It's going to be something that's life changing for a whole lot of people. So, but tell me this: so, when you were doing that business, what was when you think about what the biggest hurdle was, or continues to be? What's the biggest hurdle in running your business? Is it the staffing? Is it these? You talked about Gen X's. Is it the millennials? Because they
Millennials is something else.
don't.
I can tell you because you got to think about it. Millennials was kind of raised with the grandmas of the Gen X's who had babies in high
Right,
school.
right.
So they kind of brother and sister
Mm,
sometimes. I'm just being very transparent.
right.
I didn't have my first kid to
Mm,
28, but a lot of my friends had their
mm,
kids, but their mothers, who are the baby boomers, really helped.
mm,
So I think that gap was
mm,
missed. And then the older millennials who parents had them, it was like a baby boomer had the older
right.
millennials. They're more structured,
Yeah.
um, but they also don't care for families. I think my biggest issue is probably caregiving. So
Mm,
when I say I'm a big deal because caregiving is the number one turnover job in the country.
mm,
What's scary is the most needed job in the country. So think about it. And it's the most needed, but it's the most turnover.
mm,
People aren't compassionate anymore. People don't understand the importance of going to work anymore.
mm,
People don't understand the importance of truly providing properly care.
mm,
So even though I have a lot of caregivers, I am very hands on.
mm,
I am still very, and I don't want to be, but if you're going into these homes and you're not a family caregiver,
right.
because I have some family caregivers, but they are on my payroll because by law in California, you have to be a licensed background check, fingerprinted
Caregiver.
caregiver
Yeah.
with an agency. You can't get paid without literally being on a payroll system. So everyone's W-2,
Mm,
and they have to follow the rules.
right.
I think for me, the biggest challenge is all will be and always be the caregiving component. I have just somewhat mastered it because when they meet, they don't always know I'm the owner.
Mm,
They think I'm the director.
mm,
They don't even know I'm the CEO unless they Google
right.
me,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
But they know I'll help them. I'm hands on with my staff. I have like 11 people in the
Mm,
office, which is unheard of. Most home care agencies literally have
mm,
two, even when you're large. And I don't use AI.
mm,
I'm still old school, but it is the work ethics. With the Gen Z, I have technically four because I have a 13-year-old that she is the last of the Gen Z, but she models me to the T. Like she's so in tune with
Mm,
me. So her work ethics may be greater.
mm,
And then the other three, they have multiple degrees, masters and everything. But it's crazy that I instilled the work ethic. Some of their friends, no,
yeah.
no.
No,
Like
yeah.
it's
Well,
not
that's
there. Like my daughter has a degree in biomedical engineering and she can do calculus in her head. But they also come from an era of I think that us, and when I say because I'm a Gen
mm,
X, we overcompensated because somewhat we raised ourselves and not in a bad way. Like I don't feel like I was neglected. I understood the importance that my parents had to
right, right,
work.
right. You wonder whether my wife rejects the fact that she's a baby boomer because she's right at the very end. And so
At
people
the
will
very
finally say,
end,
I'm
yeah.
not a baby. I'm like, well, I am. Forget you. You know. But that when I hear it in the nurse,
And so you have millennial kids
yes,
then.
yes, yes, and
The millennials something
oh my
else.
God, that's what I'm saying.
It's like
but when you go to the nursing home and people say the nurses and the nurses' aides, their attitude is just terrible. But a lot of that
horrible.
is a lack of training and a lack of modeling, right? I mean, like seeing
Absolutely.
to your point, you model a lot of those better behaviors, and
Oh, you're
they're
terminated.
open.
I tell people, so I always say, even to my
Mm.
staff, when you have a conversation, I want you to talk to them and truly listen as if it was your mother. And if you don't like your mother, pick
You
whoever
like,
you like best that you will like fight somebody or windmill them
yeah,
for.
right, right.
That's the person that I want you to always think you're on the phone with
Mm-hmm,
or taking care of.
mm-hmm,
Because if not, you cannot work for Ultra Care
mm-hmm.
Services. It's just not
Not
going to
gonna happen.
happen. So yes, I agree.
Well, that's outstanding. Well, it's great. It's been great talking to you and find out where if someone wants to
Same
follow you
here.
online or follow you on social media, where would they go?
So for Instagram, Ultra Care Home Care is for Instagram for the business. But for me, I am the THEE Care Mogul.
Hmm.
The Care Mogul. That is my name on
Well,
Instagram.
very good.
And so you can definitely follow me. And then my name is Leslie Deans Bryan on Facebook and as well as I think on TikTok is the Care Mogul
Well,
as
that's
well.
good. Leslie Dean Bryant, has been great hearing about your journey, hear about
Same to you, Dr. Gregory Hall. This has been amazing. Thank you for the work you're doing.
nice. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have you back again, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.
None of the statements that I have made have been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Genetic sequence multivitamins are not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. Furthermore, none of my statements should be construed as dispensing medical advice or making claims regarding the cure or prevention of diseases. You should consult your own licensed healthcare provider before starting any supplement, diet change, or exercise program, especially if you're pregnant or have pre-existing injuries or medical conditions. Remember, having a doctor is always your best option.